Hello, everyone, and welcome to Universal Truths. I wanted to talk to you today about meditation. A lot of people still struggle with meditation, and what I've identified is that most of the people that struggle with don't really understand how meditation works and how to actively go about it. There are a lot of techniques and a lot of variations out there. And of course, each different technique will suit different people. But all of them have a basic concept. They have a basic foundation. And this is something that not many people understand. Because I think if they did understand, then not many people would actually struggle with actively doing meditation. Meditation in itself is a natural aspect of the human being. We all meditate, although we don't actively realize it. We need to relax, we need to de-stress, we need to disconnect from the stresses of each day and the stresses of the week or the month that we've been in. And if we don't disconnect and de-stress, then things can go wrong mentally. So this happens automatically with us even realizing it. And of course, sleep helps us to process that stress, but actively de-stressing and relaxing happens automatically without us actively realizing that. For example, if you go for a walk along the beach and you get lost in your thoughts and suddenly you find yourself at the other end of the beach and not realizing where the time had gone, that's a form of meditation. Some people like to do gardening. They actively say that it takes them away from daily stresses, helps them to relax. That's another form of meditation. So anything that takes you away from the daily stresses is a form of meditation. But the kind of meditation I'm talking about now is meditation that you can use as a tool to help you to develop. And there are some basic principles to understand to effectively meditate without being distracted by noisy thoughts, noisy external occurrences. When I first started teaching meditation many years ago, I started with small groups. And what I used to do, I used to bring a flower, a rose from the garden and hold the rose up in front of me and show people the rose and ask them to look at the rose and examine each detail of the rose. Try and gain as much information from the rose, as much detail as possible. Then I would pass the rose across to the person next to me and give them about 30 seconds to examine the rose, try and gain as much detail as they could from the rose. Then they would pass that on to the next person. And so we would go around the circle until the rose came back to me. Then I would hide the rose behind myself, ask everyone to close their eyes, and then simply recreate the rose within their mind's eye with as much detail as possible, as much as they could remember about the rose. Get them to create it and watch it suspended in front of them, and then perhaps turn the rose to the side or turn it upside down to have a look at the details on the other side. Turn it to the left, turn it to the right, just to add as much detail as they'd seen when they were actively looking at the rose, without realizing it, with a simple exercise that actually had and done their very first meditation. Because meditation is about turning off the outside noise and going within. So what have we done? We've taken the focus from outside ourselves, from observing the flower in front of us in our hand, to observing the flower within ourselves. It's no longer external to us. It's now become internal, which is what meditation is about. The moment we go within, inside ourselves, we automatically turn off the outside noise. And I can guarantee you that every single person that went within and created that rose had no other thoughts interfering with them during that process. They were too busy creating, recreating, designing, adding detail to the rose. There were no other thoughts. There was no intrusion. This is the basic concept of all meditation. It's about gaining a place of focus, a focal point. You cannot know something or go somewhere unless you know where you're going. You need a destination. You need a place to look at actively. Our awareness is something that we can move from one frequency, vibration, to another. And meditation is just one of those things. It is a frequency, different to a conscious mind, actively looking around and interacting with the world. It changes, it moves. I remember when I first started meditating, I would feel as if my awareness, where I was, would move and change to where I felt I was standing just behind myself. And this is where I started to realize that awareness moves with frequency, with intention. So all we need for basic meditation is a place to focus. So we take the image of the flower and we use that as a focal point. We take that focal point from outside ourselves and we take it inside ourselves, into the mind. And we recreate as creators. We recreate that flower. And in doing so, we've achieved basic meditation. Once you understand that, and once you can actively do that, you've reached the first step. You can then simply just purely observe what it feels like to be in that state. Because realizing and understanding what that frequency feels like to you, what that energy feels like to you in that space where you've created that flower. This is the place, this is the memory, this is the focal point that you remember always, a place you can go to always after that, because you now have a reference point. You can go ahead and try this for yourself. You can use any object you like, preferably something that's dear to you, something that you love. Not a person, not an animal, just an inanimate object that you find precious to yourself. Use that and do that exercise. And let me know what you find. And I think you will be pleasantly surprised at how simple meditation actually is. And this is an active developmental meditation because you're using it as a tool consciously. It's not happening spontaneously. From then on, at Universal Truths, we teach much more advanced techniques, but all based in this principle. Energy work, breathing work, affirmations, all are based around this concept. Going within and finding the frequency where that resonates, where that sits, and then remembering where that place is and using it, a place to move your awareness. If you have any questions, then please feel free to get in touch. At Universal Truths, we teach these advanced concepts to help you to evolve. If you've enjoyed this short talk about basic meditation, we have a lot more to offer. So please get in touch. Thank you.